All right, let's talk about that one thing that's silently killing your test suite's performance. You know what I'm talking about. That single repetitive step that just eats up time in your pipeline. Well, today we're going to fix it for good with a technique that is an absolute game changer. Okay, let's dive in.
Seriously, are you? If you're writing end-to-end tests, we've all been there, right? Test 1 kicks off, it logs in, does its thing, logs out. Then test 2 comes along and does the exact same login all over again. It feels like you're doing proper test isolation, but really, it's one of the biggest performance drains you have.
I mean, think about it. Each login takes, what, 5 seconds? Maybe 7 on a slow day? Doesn't sound like much, but multiply that by hundreds of tests running over and over again every single day, and suddenly we're not talking about seconds. We're talking minutes, maybe even hours of just wasted time. That's the difference between getting feedback right now versus getting it after you've gone and made another coffee.
This slide just nails it, doesn't it? On the left, you've got that painful cycle of waste. Log in, test, log out, repeat, over and over. But on the right, that's the smart way. That's the Playwright way. You authenticate one time, and then all your tests just hit the ground running in that logged-in state. This isn't magic. It's just a much, much smarter workflow.
You know what? Let's forget about code for just a second to make this super clear. Imagine you're at the airport. You wouldn't go through the full security and identity check for every single connecting flight on your trip, would you? No way. That'd be completely insane, right?
And this is exactly how it works. Your setup project, that's the check-in counter. It does the heavy lifting just once. The storage state file it creates, that's your express pass, your golden ticket. And your actual tests, well, they just flash that pass and breeze right through the express lane, getting straight to work with zero hassle. Okay, analogy over. Let's get into the actual code. The cool thing is, this isn't some clever little hack. It's a core feature of Playwright, built specifically for this kind of optimization. It's all about being ruthlessly efficient, but without compromising on reliability or test isolation.
Before we even touch a line of code, just look at this number, over 40 minutes. Let's say your suite has 500 tests, and each login takes a measly 5 seconds. This one technique saves you over 40 minutes of execution time, every single run. That's a massive win for your CI pipeline and your team's feedback loop.
So what's the secret sauce here? It all comes down to something called storage state, and it's really simple. It's just a JSON file. But inside that file is everything the browser needs to remember who you are. Your session cookies, local storage tokens, the whole shebang. It's basically a perfect snapshot of a logged-in browser, ready to be copied and reused. The implementation is surprisingly clean. We're going to break it down into a simple 3-file system. First, we need a dedicated script just for the login. Second, we'll tweak our main config file to tie it all together. And third, our actual test files, which get to reap all the rewards. So let's look at that first one. Here it is, our setup script. Its only job is to log in and save the session. You just write a normal Playwright test to go to the login page, fill in the credentials, and click the button. But the magic is this very last line, page.context.storage_state. That one command takes that snapshot of the logged-in session and bam, writes it to a file. Job done.
Next up, we have to tell Playwright how to actually use this new file. In your main config, you create a special project, let's call it setup, that only runs our new authentication script. Then for your main test project, you add 2 critical lines. Dependencies, setup, make sure the login always runs first, and use storage state equals whatever, tells every single test in this project to load that saved session before it even starts.
And here it is, the payoff. Just look at how clean and simple this test is. There is zero login code, no before each hooks, no weird helper functions, it's just gone. The test goes directly to the dashboard, a page that you have to be logged in to see, and it just works. This is incredibly fast and so much easier to read.
Now, this technique is super powerful, but it's also where people can trip up. So let's talk about the rookie mistakes to avoid. Getting these right is what separates the average tester from the top 1% of QA engineers.
Okay, please listen up because this is the big one. That storage state file, it contains live session tokens. Committing this file to Git is like taking a photo of your house keys and posting it on social media. It's a huge security risk. Just don't do it. The fix, thankfully, is incredibly simple. The moment you create that auth folder, and putting it in a directory like playwright/auth/ is a great idea, you immediately add that directory to your .gitignore file.
This guarantees it never, ever gets checked into your codebase by accident. This is totally non-negotiable.
And here are a few other quick tips from the pros. First, remember, these sessions can and will expire, so your save state isn't good forever. Second, pro tip, if you can log in via an API call instead of the UI, do it. It's way faster and more reliable. And finally, make sure you wait for the page to be fully loaded after you log in before you save the state. Otherwise, you might save an incomplete session.
All right, we have covered a lot of ground. So let's boil it all down to the 3 essential rules you need to walk away with to absolutely master this technique.
So, here's what you need to remember. Number 1, authenticate once. Use a dedicated setup project for it. Number 2, save and reuse. Capture that session with storage state and apply it to all your tests. And number 3, the most important, secure your state. Add that auth directory to .gitignore on day 1. Get those 3 things right, and you are golden.
And I'm really not exaggerating here. When you master this one technique, you're not just saving a bit of time, you are fundamentally speeding up your team's entire development cycle. Honestly, it's a skill that puts you way ahead of the curve. You've got this. It's way simpler to get started than you think.